like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, and we're going to talk about 2 questions that people will ask you when you're talking with them about narcissist abuse. These are generally either people who don't know anything about it, or it could be 2 red flags, and they're trying to rub it in, okay? And they're probably a narcissist, okay? So let's get this started. As usual, we do the bougie candle. By the way, I'm in Northern California, and it has been a really cold December, winter for us. Like, it's never been this cold every single day and night. Like, even in the daytime, it doesn't warm up very much at all. And normally we'll get 2 or 3 or 4 days like that, and then it warms up. Fire starter. But not this year. Not at all. It's been going on for a while. All right. But I actually like it. I'm exhilarated by it. I'm pretty thrilled. It's a long story. I'm doing that Wim Hof technique. I'm going out when it's about literally, like, it's freezing out. It's about 32 degrees. So I go out with a t-shirt, shorts, and I do these long, like, hour and a half hikes. Technically hour and 15, hour and 20-minute hikes. All right, so let's get to it. So sometimes, here's what I've noticed in the last 2.5, 3 years is people will ask me, like, well, I don't understand, like, what's the big deal, right? That's a red flag right there, especially if they got an attitude like, oh, what's the big deal? Like they're being a dick. So here's what I'm going to recommend right off the bat. If you get a feeling that hurts, that's your intuition telling you this person's fucking with you. All right? I'm telling you, that right there alone, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It's not a big deal. And I'll just walk and say, hey, man, I got to go. I won't tell them why. What's going on? No, nothing, dude. I just realized something. I got to head out, bro. I got to get something done. I'm supposed to meet someone. I'll just say, hey, I got to go. I won't explain it. So generally, they'll say something like that, or the one that really gets me is when people say, well, why don't you just leave? Okay? So I'm going to explain that to you. Number one, a narcissist, let's see if I can find the word. I wrote it down here. All right, so here's what they do. It's a mind fuck in the first place. It's a whole setup. Okay, I'm not going to be able to explain every little detail in this one video. But their number one goal is to intertwine with you, to mentally connect with you and intertwine to where you can't just walk away, okay? They also do things in the physical world. Like, for example, that a lot of you have already heard, this is very well spoken and written about in books. Doctors talk about this, etc., psychologists, therapists, is they want to intertwine in your life as much as possible. Narcissist's number one goal is to gain deep rapport with your family and with your friends and with your coworkers. So they come into your world and they connect with all these people. So now, all of a sudden, it's not easy just to walk away because, like, they know everyone that you know. Now, here's the other thing. They are professionals. They are experts at talking behind your back and turning people against you, okay? This is what they've been practicing since they were a little child. And I mean little, like we're talking maybe 4, 5, 6 years old. They started at a very young age. By the time they're 17 years old, they're not experts. They're professionals. They're really good at turning people against people. In fact, the narcissist's number one tactic is to divide and conquer. That's what they do. They're really good at manipulation and manipulating people's minds and tricking people. Not just the target, but everybody around the target. Okay? So they'll convince people, oh, you're a wimp, oh, you're a whiner, oh, you're sensitive. And that's one of the main things they do is they want to convince everyone, oh, you're just sensitive. All right, I'll give you a tactic. It's my little brother used to do this. In fact, he was the one, it was funny, years later, he taught it to me. He just broke it down. He goes, well, haven't you noticed? And he just broke it down. So here's what it is. We used to live in Wisconsin. And then, here, let me check something. I want to make sure I'm on the right recording thing. Hold on. Yeah, it's good. And what happened was he ended up moving back to California to live with my aunt for a year before we moved back out. And my aunt lived with us in Wisconsin for a year before that. Okay, so I think that's why, like, they got the idea to bring Joey back with them. And so she came up to me when we moved back. I think it was our first or second week that we were there. And she goes, "Hey, Michael, can we go talk?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like, I thought I was in trouble. Like, what did I do now? And she goes, "No, no, no, you're not in trouble." I'm like, "Well," she goes, "I owe you an apology. Me and Uncle Don owe you a huge apology." I'm like, "For what?" And she goes, "Well, we figured out what was going on." I'm like, "No, I was a kid. I was just before 8th grade. I'm looking at her like, what the hell?" I had no idea what she was talking about. And she goes, "We figured out what Joey was doing." And I don't think she said Joey. I think she said all your siblings. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What are they doing?" And she goes, "Well, they will pick on you and punch you and kick you and, rip up your homework and just do things. But they do it when none of the adults are around." I'm like, "Okay." And what they do is they push you right to the edge. And then what they'll do, they'll pinch you or they'll pull one strand of hair out. And then all of a sudden, all we see is you chasing after them. And in our eyes, we're like, "What's the big deal? He just poked you or he just, pushed your head a little bit. Like, why are you flipping out?" And she goes, "All I heard was how you were the bad kid and you were the bad one." Because my aunt was kind of mean to me when she lived with us. And I couldn't figure out why because I loved my aunt. And she goes, "That's why." She goes, "All I heard was you were this bad, horrible person." Well, this is a very typical narcissist tactic, is to fuck with you and piss you off and hurt you and do horrible things to you, but not in front of the other people. And then in front of the other people, they do some little thing or they say some little joke or something that's offensive or something, and you cry or break down or you flip out in a rage or you might smash something or even go after them. And the whole time during the setup, they were telling everyone how sensitive you are and how, "Oh my God, what's wrong with this person? Are they mental? Are they bipolar? Are they crazy? Are they this?" And so she said, "Michael, all me and Uncle Don saw was this, it was this one little thing that they would do to you." And then I just like, wow, Michael's got a temper. And I'm thinking, I got a temper. I put up with all this shit for 6 months, and one day I finally stood up for myself, and now I'm the bad guy? I bet a lot of you have had this happen, haven't you? All right. So what happened was when he lived with my aunt and uncle for that whole year, he was playing them against each other. Well, now they're adults. They sleep in the same bedroom and they talk. Well, he was a kid. He was in fifth grade, maybe sixth grade, and he wasn't that smart. He never thought, oh, they're going to be talking to each other, because he's thinking, well, I'm turning them against each other, right? And so she said he was doing the same thing to us that they were doing to you. I was like, oh, so that was my first introduction to what narcissist abuse is and one of the tactics that they use. So here's the deal. When people come up to you and say, well, why don't you just leave? Okay, so leave my family, leave my friends, leave my neighborhood, leave my hometown, leave my job. So yeah, just fucking walk away and leave. Yeah, fucking easy, man. Yeah. So here's the deal that I recommend to you. If you try to explain it to that person and they're just like being dismissive and like whatever, and they're discounting what you're saying, I'm telling you, that's a huge red flag. They're a narcissist. Here's how you deal with it. Just walk away. Don't say another fucking word. Walk away. Cut them out of your cell phone. Block them first, okay? Block them out of your cell phone. Don't ever talk to them. Ignore them. Just be done. Because I'm telling you, either that person is a narcissist, or B, they don't give a shit about you, or C, they've been turned against you. Now here's the deal. A lot of people that were turned against you that knew you for years and years and years before this person came into their world, if they turned against you based on a stranger, even if that stranger was with them for 6 weeks or even 6 months, involved in the family or whatever, okay? You're the closer one. So if these people turned against you because somebody comes into the picture and woos them and turns them against you, they were probably looking for a reason to turn against you. See, this was the one thing that gave me a huge freedom. I started looking back at all these high school friends. Okay, take, for example, my mom was never in the picture. Never. She didn't go to any of the football games, any of the wrestling matches. I remember the first time she went to a wrestling match, she was there for about 3 or 4 hours. It was a big, big deal. I was like, whoa, like my mom never went. Well, as I got older, she told me she hated to watch me win. She couldn't stand it, okay? So here's the thing that I found out. So years and years later, She had turned all these people against me that I had grown up with, that I was on the wrestling team with, people that I was living in hotels with on the weekends to go to wrestling tournaments. We wrestled every day for 2.5 hours. We had classes together. I mean, for years. These people knew me. But some strange woman who happens to have the title called Mom walks in literally one day and says some things, and they all turned against me, and that really hurt. And for years I tried to explain to myself, like, oh, why would you say that? Oh, that's your mother. I'm thinking my mother's the one who's saying shit about me, right? So here's what I realized. Those people were never your friends. They were probably looking for something to be like, yeah, screw that person. And so once that hit me, and once I learned that, I was like, oh, I wrote them off. I was like, oh, I get it now. They're either a narcissist themselves or a flying monkey, which is a narcissistic person anyways. Because let's put it this way. Let's say you had a brother or sister or a friend or even a coworker or even a classmate, someone on your baseball team or what, a football team that you had known for years. You had seen them under pressure, under stress, tired, exhausted, sick. You know this person. And then some new person comes in, and in a matter of weeks, even if it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, would you turn against your friend, or would you go to your friend and go, whoa, this new person they're talking shit about you. They said this, this, and this. They said that you're sensitive. I've never seen that part. I've seen you put up with a lot of... See, that's a friend. If those people don't come to you, they're not your friends. All right? And it might seem like it hurts, but it really doesn't, because no matter what you say to those people, they're not going to listen to you because they don't want to. They want to hold something against you. They want something to look down on you for, okay? So here's the deal. These people that turned against me that fast are narcissists, okay? It took me, let's say graduated 18. It took me another 2 decades or even more than that until I finally understood what a narcissist and what narcissist abuse is. Then I was like, oh, because it broke my heart for all those years in my 20s and 30s. Because I'm like, well, I don't understand why these people turned against me. Like, well, what's going on here? Like, I knew them for years. These people are narcissists. They were always talking behind your back anyways. And even if they weren't, you know how narcissists get really jealous of you if you're successful? Well, they were holding grudges against me, and they couldn't wait for a reason to go, oh, well, if your mom says this, then it must be true. And I'm thinking, just like that? Yeah, because they're narcissists. So what happened was I finally learned to write these people off. And that was a huge, huge relief. Like all of a sudden, it's like in my mind, it suddenly changed from, these are my friends, why are they doing this to me, to, oh, these are not my friends at all. They never were. That was a huge realization that lifted a ton of weight off my shoulders. All of a sudden, I saw all of them in a completely different light, and I realized it's a total waste of time trying to convince these people because they don't want to hear my side. They just want to go against me like a narcissist does. I got off track a little bit about why don't you just leave? So I tell you, I'm going to end this video here because I think this subject was really good. I'm going to do another video about why, when they say, well, why don't you just leave? Okay, I'm going to do a video on that. So I thought this is a really good thing. I hope it helps you.